Welcome back to the next episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation X tournament here on the HomeBoiz channel, and today we have Chancellor Sheppard going up against Alexis from the White Dorm. Now, Chancellor Sheppard here has an overall Cyber deck. He would like to potentially go into the Cyber Ogre monster as a fusion summon. He can also make some of the Cyber Dragon fusions as well, although it's not nearly as concentrated in that aspect. He's very light on the monsters, focusing mostly on the spell card support, since he was one of those decks where you only saw a couple of cards and I improvised like crazy with it, and the traps don't really do much of anything. The best traps being Cyber Shadow Gardener, which can summon a token that can copy your opponent's attacking monster, I believe, and negate attack as well. The side deck aims to sort of turbo a little bit the Cyber Ogre strategy, getting it out quicker using Urgent Schedule in combination with Oil Man to summon the monsters straight out of your deck. You have what I thought was a potential kaiju going on right here. Unfortunately, the super anti-kaiju War Machine can only be special summoned with its own effect, so there's 3 cards in the side deck that do nothing. But if all else fails, you have Future Fusion. Looking at Alexis's deck, we have a ice-themed deck, so the monsters aim to more or less put ice counters onto the field, which will allow you to freeze your opponents, preventing them from attacking, switching battle positions, etc., etc. You have ways to negate your opponent's effects as well. In terms of monster effects, it's very top-heavy and it leans towards the 8th, so we have 3 copies of Trade-In to help get through that. We also have a spell card that will give you a token that can be counted as 2 tributes in order to help speed that up, and there's lots of ways to do effect damage or to clear your opponent's board. Overall, it is a very threatening deck that doesn't whatsoever need its extra deck, which the extra deck can also sort of generate counters and grow in strength and whatnot too. If they can manage to get 3 level 8 monsters on the field, then they have an instant win condition for all of the rounds of the duel as well. And the side deck just aims to provide more level 8s for the trade-in core of the deck, you can call it, just to speed things up and to cause even more damage. But without further ado, let's move on to the duel. The first round between Chancellor Sheppard and Alexis rode, and it looks like Alexis is going to be taking the first turn, opening up with the absolute 0 barrier. So with this, monsters that have ice counters will not be able to attack whatsoever, and they will also lose 500 attack points. And to further solidify her potential defense, she has a monster and 2 cards in the back row. Chancellor Sheppard opens up the duel with only a single monster in his hand, which is to be expected considering he has a 40 card deck with, what was it, like 16 monsters in it. He's going to start off with Fusion Sage though to get him a polymerization spell card for later on, potentially. And then he's going to normal summon the Cyberstein. Now, if I personally were playing this deck and I only had a single monster in my hand on the very first turn, I think Cyberstein would be the monster that I would want, because by paying 5,000 life points, he can summon any fusion monster in his deck, namely the Cyber and Dragon in this specific scenario. And now the tides have turned, because Cyber and Dragon is going to put Chancellor Sheppard in perfect control of the offensive plays here. He has a face down card to potentially back him, and running into the Snow Dragon, that's 3,100 points of damage to Alexis. But Snow Dragon puts ice counters on every monster that's on the field, so not only does Cyberstein, who's already pretty low, go down to a pathetic 200 points, with Sheppard only having 3,000 life points to begin with, but now Cyber and Dragon itself is no longer capable of attacking, and that's about all that Sheppard is capable of doing. We're going to see Alexis set a card before she uses the Call of the Haunted to bring back her Snow Dragon with 1,400. A Call of the Haunted always summons a monster in attack mode, so she's going to attempt to swing over the Cyberstein, but not before Sheppard reveals his Dust Tornado trap card to actually destroy the field spell. Now, they could have also destroyed Call of the Haunted, thus getting rid of Snow Dragon, but by destroying the field spell instead, these ice counters on these monsters don't actually do anything. And on top of that, he'll be reducing his own damage by 500 points, reducing it down to 700. So he's gonna go ahead and set a call. He's setting a card thanks to the effect of Dust Tornado. Excuse me, I was a little bit confused there. And Alexis is going to end her turn. So now Sheppard's move, and he's going to go straight into battle. He's going to attempt to run over the Snow Dragon. Alexis is going to choose to respond with the trap card Cold Fusion, which will allow her to, I believe, destroy a fusion monster that's on the field. And since he doesn't have any of the materials, it doesn't get split up into anything. Sheppard here is going to use Monster Reincarnation, letting him get a monster from his graveyard back into his hand at the cost of a card in his hand. So he threw away Scrap Fusion since Alexis's deck isn't focused on fusion whatsoever. He's not really going to need it. That way he has a monster he can normal summon in defense mode to protect his life points. Unfortunately for him, Alexis drew into a second Snow Dragon, which not only means potentially more counters in the future, but that means that she has a monster that can attack directly. So she's going to destroy Cyberstein. But then Sheppard here uses the By Road Sacrifice trap card, which can only be used when one of his monsters dies in battle. This allows him to special summon the Cyber Ogre straight from his hand with 1900, putting Alexis's turn to an end, and she only has one card left to defend herself with. Sheppard lucks out and draws the Pot of Greedy card in order to refill his hand quite a bit, sets a card face down, and goes straight into battle. Now we're going to see Blizzard Wall, and I'm not familiar with this trap card, so when a monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can change its battle position. So Snow Dragon will be going into defense mode, and then an ice counter will be placed on Cyber Ogre, and its battle position cannot be changed. So we'll be stuck into attack mode, it looks like. But it doesn't seem like it actually stops the attack, it just gets an extra counter on there. So maybe she's hoping that she gets something usable with that. But yeah, that's all that's gonna come down to, and it's back to Alexis's turn, and she has no playable cards. She's gonna leave her Snow Dragon in attack mode though, and although you would take damage from it being in attack mode, the logic here is probably the fact that its attack points are higher. So on the off chance that Chancellor Sheppard drew something like Cyber Phoenix with only 1200, this minimizes the potential damage to Alexis's life points, because then Cyber Phoenix would be able to run over the 900 defense, and then Cyber Ogre would be free to attack directly. Instead, this play forces the stronger monster to run it over, and it looks like he's not capable of doing that thanks to the Blizzard Wall. So Alexis buys herself another turn, and she breaks again, and there's that 1200 I was talking about, and it looks like he draws into the Cyber Esper, sets it face down, and it's back to Alexis. She does get a level 8 monster, so she can trade it in to draw 2 more cards, and she draws into the White Blizzard, which is going to accelerate this duel just a little bit. Because now whenever Alexis destroys one of Sheppard's monsters, Sheppard will take 600 points of damage. But if the White Blizzard gets destroyed, I believe Alexis has to destroy one of her own cards as well. And here we're going to see the Blizzard Warrior hit the field with 1400. It's going to swing over the face down. Unfortunately, Esper has 1800, so that's 400 right back to Alexis before she passes it back over to the Chancellor. And here we're going to see the spell card Instant Fusion get used. So at the cost of 1000 life points, really cutting it close now, you can summon a level 5 or lower fusion monster, but it's not allowed to attack and it dies at the end of the turn. So we're going to see the Panzer Dragon hit the board. We're going to see the Panzer Dragon hit the board because when Panzer Dragon dies at the end of the turn due to Instant Fusion's effect, Panzer Dragon will be able to destroy a card that's on the field. Now we're going to see the Polymerization spell for the Cyber Ogre 2 with 2600 points. And Cyber Ogre 2, when it's attacking, can gain half of the attack of its target. So in this case, it will gain an extra 700 point boost. Now we're also going to see Fusion Recovery to get back Polymerization and, more importantly, Cyber Ogre straight out of the graveyard and into the hand. Now, by sacrificing Esper, you can normal summon said Cyber Ogre for additional damage output. So we're going to see Cyber Ogre run over the Blizzard Warrior for 500, Cyber Ogre 2 run over the Snow Dragon for a total of, what was that, 1900? And Snow Dragon will put ice counters on everything. This might be Alexis' last turn with nothing in her hand to work with, and with Panzer Dragon popping, it'll take White Blizzard with it, so her field is empty. On top of that, Return Soul is going to activate here, so he's actually going to be trying to help her in a sense. Maybe he's trying to tease her, maybe he just didn't have enough monster targets for his fusion, but he's going to be sending the 3 monsters he targeted, Panzer Dragon, Blizzard Knight, and Snow Dragon, and sending them back into the deck. So Maybe the idea here was to fill her deck up with 2 extra cards. Maybe it was to taunt her and say, here, I'll help you out, it won't matter. Honestly, it's anybody's guess, and she does get a monster, and she's going to set that face down and pass turn here. Now, Sheppard draws into the Cyber Phoenix card and plays that in attack mode. Now, Cyber Ogre 2 is going to run over the Snowman Eater, and Snowman Eater can destroy a card on Chancellor Sheppard's field, but with 2 monsters left, it doesn't matter, and Sheppard wins the first round. Now for the second round, it looks like Alexis chooses to go first once more. So she's going to set a monster face down and activate Infernal White. Infernal White gives her the ability to play with her hand revealed in exchange for dealing 600 points of damage during the start of every one of Chancellor's turns. So here, after he draws, he'll take 600, but thankfully, he had the Mystical Space Typhoon, so he'll be able to respond and destroy it. And when a continuous card is no longer on the field, its effects do not apply anymore. Continuous spells and traps have to be face up on the field in order to resolve, according to the rulebook. In addition to that, he's going to be using Future Fusion here, so he's going to go ahead and fusion summon Cyber Ogre 2, using the 2 Cyber Ogres that are in his deck. And from there, he's just going to pass his turn, because the turn that Future Fusion summons a monster, it's not allowed to attack. Here, we're going to see Alexis set a monster and a face-down card, and it's right back to Sheppard. So he's going to go ahead and decide to pop the Graceful Charity, and in case you were wondering why he would decide to hold on to that instead of activating it sooner, my rule of thumb has always been, and this is what I tell everybody that I know, always wait until you have a minimum of 1 card you are comfortable throwing away with Graceful Charity. So that time has probably come for him. Gonna draw 3, and it looks like he has discarded Urgent Schedule and his last Cyber Ogre, no longer needing it apparently. Cyber Esper is going to hit the field with 1200 along with a set card in the back row. Popping over the Snow Dragon, both of Sheppard's monsters are going to maintain a ice counter, and Ice Barrier is going to activate. So when an opponent attacks you, its attack points drops to 0, and it loses its effect, and it cannot change its battle position, so it will stay as a 0 attack monster, never being capable of defending. When Cyber Esper is face up on the field in attack mode though, Sheppard can see every card that Alexis draws, so even though the white spell card is no longer here, Infernal White, Alexis's hand will still more or less be revealed to Sheppard. Here we're going to see the Glacial Beast Lizard Wolf hit the field with 1400, running over the Cyber Ogre 2 with a face down, right back to Sheppard once again. He's going to set a face down of his own, attack with the lower attack point Cyber Esper, and then activate Limiter Removal, doubling Esper's attack points for the singular turn, but killing it at the end. Unfortunately, we have the spell card Instant Freeze activating, negating a spell or a trap card, and setting it back face down, and it cannot be used for 3 whole turns. So Cyber Esper is going to die there. Sheppard takes the 200 points of damage to the chin. He's going to set a monster and pass his turn. On Alexis's turn, she goes into the Cold Enchanter, and this can be very, very dangerous because from now on, she can throw away cards from her hand in order to give monsters on the field ice counters on either side of the field. And for every ice counter that is on the field, Enchanter is going to be gaining 300 attack points. We're also going to see Blizzard get flipped up. It's a very weak monster, but if it dies, it will do 800 points, which could potentially be huge. And Alexis is going to give up one of her level 8s to give the counter to Blizzard. And the reason you want to be really particular with this is because if you put the ice counters on the wrong monsters and you draw, let's say, your field spell, your absolute 0 field spell, then you're weakening your own stuff. So with no face-up monsters on Sheppard's field, you have to really be picky about what you're willing to go weaker. So the Beast Blizzard Wolf was going to attack the Cyber Jar. Cyber Jar does something really powerful in destroying all the monsters on both players' sides of the field. Then they get to look at their top 5 cards and summon the level 4 or lower monsters in them and keep the rest. So it looks like here Alexis got the Blizzard Princess, Call of the Haunted, Trade in, Lizard, and the Snow Dragon, so she will be able to play those last 2 monsters. Sheppard is going to get Pot of Greed, Instant Fusion, Oil Man, Fusion Conscription, and Power Bond. So he only gets a single monster to defend himself with, but he has so many good spell cards in that pile, it really doesn't matter. Trade-in's going to activate, throwing away the Blizzard Princess in order to draw Alexis 2 more cards. She's going to set 2 and end her turn, and during her end phase, Dust Tornado is going to activate on Sheppard's field, destroying one of her face-down cards. So there goes another instant freeze, which could have been very, very terrible for him. Now he's going to go ahead and activate the Pot of Greed spell card and use the Fusion Conscription. So he will be able to search for a fusion material based on whatever fusion he shows. He probably showed the Cyber End, so he has Cyber Dragon added to his hand now, but he's not able to summon it, I believe. Then Instant Fusion is going to activate, bringing Sheppard down to 5,400 for Panzer Dragon once again. He's going to set a monster, Panzer Dragon dies because Sheppard's ending his turn, and there goes the Snow Dragon without leaving any ice counters to remember it by. But Alexis draws another Snow Dragon anyway, so she's going to attack with her 1,400. Same situation as last round, runs into Cyber Esper for 400. Call the Haunted to activate here though, and summon back the Blizzard Princess that was discarded by the spell card trade-in. That way Alexis doesn't have to tribute summon for her, so she has a 2,800 monster to run over Esper with ease. And that has been 2 turns of the instant free spell card. Now, on this new turn, Sheppard can special summon the Cyber Dragon. He's gonna attack the Snow Dragon for only 700 points of damage and pile up the ice counters on both monsters. So she was thinking about using the field spell. If and when she gets it, she'd be risking her own monster being incapable of accomplishing anything as well. White Blizzard's gonna be activated here so that when she runs over anything with her monsters, Sheppard will take an extra 600 points. Blizzard once again being flipped up onto the field, and we're gonna see Curtain of Hail activate too. So the level 3 or lower monsters, namely Blizzard, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and they're completely unaffected by other card effects. So if she wanted to put more ice counters onto the Blizzard, it would never be frozen by field spells and other such activities. She's going to run over the Cyber Dragon with the Princess, doing considerable damage, poking for an extra 6 with the Lizard, and ending her turn, leaving Chancellor Sheppard at a measly 3,500. But here he's going to use the trap card Born from Draconis, which will banish all the cyber monsters on his field and in the graveyard to special summon the Cyber Eltonin. And for every monster that's been banished, Cyber Eltonin is going to gain 500 attack points as long as they are cyber monsters, bringing him up to 4,000. And when Cyber Eltonin gets summoned, regardless of how it's summoned, you can destroy all the monsters that your opponent controls. Unfortunately, Curtain of Hail will protect the Lizard, but it is in attack mode. And here, Sheppard can finally activate his once frozen limiter removal. So negating that spell card ended up being her demise, swinging in with 8,000 points of damage for a grand total of 7,400. Chancellor Sheppard has won the duel.